Welcome to Stable Talks, a place where we bring real conversations from the yard straight into your living room. We felt there's something missing in the equestrian world, like real conversations with riders who are quietly working away in the background. I'm talking about the everyday equestrian, juggling work, family and horses, who's still trying to live their own version of their equestrian dream. Today I'm joined with Lauren Moore. She's really highly recognised for her online show and content, both in TikTok and Instagram. She has been heavily involved in showing for the last 25 years, competing in both amateur and home-produced classes and qualifying for some of the biggest stages between Hoy's and London International Horse Show. Lauren also most recently started her own breeding programme specialising in coloured ponies and Welsh Section Cs. She lives in Devon with her husband and both of them work full-time, one in admin and one as a contracts manager. But they do everything together and they really keep equestrianism real. She is only trying to achieve her own little dream in the background. And in this stable, we're going to have the honest conversation about showing today. So this session is going to be really informative and we're going to find out the background of all the showing classes and also discover what some of these terms mean in showing and how to actually turn out your horse. So stay tuned. So Lauren, thank you so much for joining us. Actually brilliant to actually get to sit down with Lauren, who I know a lot of people have seen from her online showing content from TikTok and Instagram. How are you keeping, Lauren?
Yeah, really well, thank you. Busy weekend, but yeah, it's all going good.
Yes, I believe you're getting ready for a show tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got 3 ponies heading out to a local NPS show tomorrow, so got to get bathing shortly.
Yes. So we're here to talk about showing because sometimes there's a lot of misconceptions around showing. Underneath the background, there's a lot of preparation going on from 3 days in advance, washing legs, getting them ready for like 6 minutes of being in the ring. And it really can be a lot of high pressure. But to set the tone for the next couple of episodes, if you can give us a rundown on where exactly you started your life with horses and, was it something you grew up with or is it something you came into in your later years?
Yeah, so I have been born and bred into a horsey family. My mum and dad were racehorse trainers growing up. My mum was really into showing. She used to ride hunters and cobs and side saddle, all of those things. So I guess you could say I was like born into the saddle. I didn't really have a choice. So yeah, it's been my whole life. I've been into showing. I've never really done anything else. I'm not very good at jumping. Can't remember a dressage test to save my life. So showing was kind of for me.
And what kind of ponies did you have mostly? Because like for those kids out there that are starting their showing, some pony breeding is better suited than others. So what did you grow up with?
As a really young kid, I started with Welsh Section A's and Shetlands. I was a bit away with the fairies as a kid. No one really trusted me with anything too good, let's just say. And then as I got older, I got into show ponies. Both me and my sister had show ponies throughout our sort of children's riding pony years. They were completely matching sets. They were all bay, all had a white star. You pretty much could know if it was bay with a white star, it was going to be in our yard. So show ponies. And then as I've got older, gone on to the Welsh Section Cs, which is Chris behind me, and the coloureds as well.
And did you always had it lucky with ponies? Like were they always, when you bought them, were they always well behaved? Did you find it hard finding the right one? Because I know a lot of families go through a lot of ponies trying to find the right one for their child. So what was that like for you, or did you find those ones that were just not suited to you and you had to sell them on?
Yeah, I mean, we've been really lucky with all of the ponies we've ever had, to be honest. They've all either settled really well in our sort of routine and our lifestyle, that they've sort of come down a notch with the sharpness. They're all going to start neighing now. I've had a few ponies growing up that weren't the easiest. We have always been home produced. We've always kind of had the ponies at home and it was just me and my sister growing up. So we did everything ourselves. And even if we did have some sharper ponies, they usually settled down. But we have been really, really lucky that they've all been pretty well behaved.
Yeah. And you have a lot of stallions. So you do. And Chris is a stallion as well. And that's where I met Lauren. And she was walking around the shopping like an hour before she was supposed to be going into the ring. Her as a cucumber. And so nothing really seems to phase you that much, does it?
No, not really. I mean, yes, I have the stallions. At the minute, I've got 9 stallions or colts in the yard, all stable next to each other. They're all very well behaved. I think if you treat them as if they are geldings almost, they don't act like stallions. I mean, you do have to be a little bit more prepared, but we're very, very lucky that they're all pretty chill. They know their routine. They know their job. And if you just treat them like normal ponies, they're going to act like normal ponies. So there's no reason to get stressed. There's no reason to get nervous.
Oh, very good. So let's start off with kind of defining for everyone, like the difference between an amateur and a novice or even a professional. Like, I think you class yourself as an amateur rider.
Yeah. So amateurs, home produced, grassroots, novice, professionals, it all has completely different meanings under different societies. For the societies I compete under, I am both an amateur and a home produced rider. So that essentially means that I do everything myself. The ponies are kept at home or on a DIY livery if you don't have a yard at home. You don't have any professional help. You don't have full-time staff, part-time staff, grooms, anything. You do it all for yourself. You are completely funded by yourself, which gets a little bit expensive at times, but that is life. And yeah, you can compete in amateur only classes, which kind of just takes the pressure off competing against those that can be on the yard 24/7, that have a bit of backing from owners or grooms or sponsored by brands. You just do it all yourself and then you're eligible.
And is a novice one step down from an amateur?
Yeah. So in the less affiliated levels, novice rider would essentially mean a rider that's come in later in their career, someone that's not necessarily won many results or won a certain amount of prize money. It's all dependent on the show or the society that you're competing under. So novice and grassroots with the societies that I compete with are riders that haven't been winning at affiliated level, that haven't been to Hoys or Royal International or London. And yeah, that just gives them another sort of section just for them, just to get that experience up before they move up another level. Sorry.
Yeah, to the amateur. And so what would they have to do to go from that step to or novice step to the amateur? Like, is it just like they can decide to start entering the amateur class, or did it have to win?
By all means they can enter. Yeah, absolutely. They can enter the amateur classes as long as you are sticking to the rules of doing it all yourself and no financial backings. As a novice competitor can 100% enter amateurs at any point. The only thing that then makes you not eligible for the novice classes would be that you've won an open class or a affiliated class, you won a certain amount of prize money, or you then qualified for your finals like Stars, London, Hoys, anything like that. You then wouldn't be a novice anymore.
So you do have a lot of horses and ponies at home, and you enter a range of classes. You're just not into your riding classes. You're into a lot of different classes. So I think if you could maybe give us an insight into all your ponies and horses and the classes that you actually enter them into and the reasons why you're into that. So people understand that if they have that certain type of pony, that they know that's the class they can enter into. I understand in your TikTok, a lot of people ask you this question and send you a picture of their horse or pony and say, what class will I enter? So it is kind of confusing for people.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the moment we have, I think, something like 23 ponies. Most of them are registered Welsh Section Cs or coloured. So we compete at the level where you would have to be a completely registered pony to then compete. So for example, Chris is a registered Welsh Section C stallion. So I had him as a rising 4-year-old and I didn't want to compete him as an open pony in any way, shape or form. I really wanted to keep him quiet, low level stuff just to get him more experienced. And that's the level that I find I get a lot more questions from. So for him, he'd just be in a regular mountain and moorland class. He doesn't have to be registered at some levels. As you proceed more, you'll notice that they will require that mountain moorlands be registered with their respective breed societies. He is also a stallion, so he has to be stallion licensed to be competed as well. We also have coloureds. The coloureds are really big, rangy types of classes that you can get with them. You have your native types, traditional types, registered traditional gypsy cobs, show cobs, You have part bred types, platted types. There is so many classes for a coloured. I would say if anyone's looking to get into showing and would like a pony, buy a coloured. There is so many classes that you can do with them. It's unreal.
Yeah, and you have a coloured pony at the moment that you show with?
So I have about 4 coloureds that we show competitively at the moment. I have a native part-bred stallion called Bear. He's about 12'2". So he has got some Shetland lines, Welsh Section A lines and coloured lines. So he can do part-bred Welsh, he can do the native coloured classes and any sort of registered stallion class. I also have 2 ridden coloureds. They are both of native types. They are 14'2" and about 16 hands. So I've got a pony and a horse section, which is great because I can pick both or pick together and I still don't clash. It's amazing. And then my last little coloured that we show is a pony called Ronald. People might know him off my TikTok. He's a little part-bred Arab and part-bred Welsh yearling. We bred him, so he is homebred and he can do coloured classes. He can do part-bred Arabs, part-bred Welsh. He can do riding ponies. There's so many things that he can do because he is of that specific type.
Do you find there's height restriction? Like classes are more limited for those below 14'2" rather than above 14'2", or is there classes for a range of sizes of ponies?
Specifically to coloureds, I think there is more that a coloured pony can do. With the horse section comes in a whole nother scenario at the level that we do, is you then have a ride judge, which does sort of add another element of training, another element of nervousness for me because it's not something I've ever done. So yeah, there is a lot more that you can do with ponies. But to be fair, with coloureds, you've got so much you can do with both. It doesn't necessarily limit you if you do have a horse. I mean, with the likes of a Welsh Section C, they can't be over 137.2 centimetres. So if you've got anything over that, you wouldn't actually be able to compete as a Welsh Section C. There is the opportunity to get them changed up to a Section D, but that's totally up to you if that's what you want to go down.
Because I know myself, I have a cob, and in order to be able to compete in the cob class, which kind of limits that section, which is a pity that it limits anybody in that section. And any of the cob classes that I have entered, they have been ridden by the judge within the ring. So you don't have that part as you're showing.
No, not with the ponies there, especially with the Welsh. That's not really a thing. Apart from at the Royal Welsh, there is a specific ride class at the Royal Welsh. It's very prestigious to do. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I might do it this year with Chris. But yeah, they don't ever get ridden. It is mainly the horse classes that do get ridden.
Yeah, because it is very intimidating when someone else is about to get onto your pony or horse and ride it around.
I have never ever done it before until I got Harley, who's my big coloured horse. I've never had anyone ride my ponies in the ring. It's scary, handing over the reins and just letting them do it. It's terrifying, but it is so rewarding when they hand the pony back and say that they've had a lovely ride or they really enjoyed it. It's so rewarding.
Yeah, I entered 2 classes. That happened to me in the 2 classes. And they got on and read. You went to London Horse Show this year. What was your route to get to London Horse Show with Chris?
Do you mean by how I qualified or just running up to?
How did you qualify?
Yeah, so qualifying's quite tricky for London, for the native breeds especially. It is a native supreme final, so you have to obviously be a member of the certain society that runs it, which is the British Show Pony Society. You have to also win your semi-final class, which would then give you a ticket to a show called the Heritage Championships, which is right at the end of the year, just before Horse of the Year show. And then in that is another class you have to do where you have to finish in the top 3. We were very lucky. We came 3rd, so we just managed to get our ticket. There are other options to get through by winning and going champion at certain shows throughout the year. It's so hard to qualify for. It's so prestigious, but we just managed it this last year.
And what was your experience when you went to London? Did it go as planned or how did you get on?
It was incredible. I have actually been to London 2 times before with my pony called Jack. He is known as sort of Mr. Reliable. So I felt a lot less pressure when I took him, a bit more pressure when I took Chris. Chris I've had since he was a baby, so I know him inside and out, and I knew the atmosphere might be a bit much for him. He'd had a bit of he'd had a bit of a wobble at Horse of the Year show with the atmosphere a few weeks prior, so I went in very relaxed. We were probably one of the only home produced in the class as well, so I knew I wasn't really going to end up with a rosette at the end of it, but I just wanted to enjoy it. He was really good, to be fair. He was so chilled out. He kind of took it all in his stride, and I was very proud of him. He did finish in our little Welsh section C category. He finished second. Overall, we didn't get placed, which was totally fine, totally expected. I was just thrilled. It's been a lifelong dream to get one of my ponies there anyway. So yeah, I'm very happy with him.
It is amazing, like when you do all the work yourself. It is the reality of it, really, that are doing the work themselves, that you actually get to get that dream, that it's not always the people that are sitting at the top living the dream, that sometimes that we get the chance to that dream too.
Absolutely. I mean, I saw one post yesterday from a lovely little girl that said that her dream was to get her own pony to hoys, and I thought, you can do it, trust me.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's, that is the reality of it, is trying to get the pony that parents can afford, allow, their child to come through. Get really lucky and get a pony that's your lifelong pony that hasn't cost a fortune and get you there. And a lot of the time, sometimes that pony has to cost a lot of money in order to get you there. So, it's getting a balance of the two for the general equestrian.
So really going back on what you said, it can be very expensive to buy a pony that's going to help you achieve the dreams that you want. And as we do it all ourselves, we don't have any financial backing. We got to a point where the market is so expensive to buy ponies. I mean, I was very lucky with the lady that sold me Chris. Very, very lucky. But I just thought, I have some lovely stallions. I have some lovely mares. Maybe we could start our own breeding program. And we're very lucky that the 5 foals that we bred last year have all come out, and they are exactly what I ordered. So it's been great to have them and sort of bring them through. And we show them as well with mares and foals at foot. I'm really lucky that I have obviously my husband Josh, who helps me, and we do things together. So showing the mares and foals throughout their sort of broodmare career. Then we show them as weanlings, youngstock. I'll then go on to ride them. I've got a 3-year-old that I'm going to break this year, which was our first ever foal. So I'm very excited to bring him out next year on the saddle.
And how do you balance that all? So you're going to a show, you might be bringing a mare and foal, you could be bringing Chris with you, you could be bringing Ronald with you. How do you balance all that there? Because that is always quick turnaround.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. It just kind of works. I mean, we have a few different types of vehicles, trailer, lorry, and a big lorry. So we've got enough vehicles to get ponies there. That's not the problem. Timings wise can be a bit crazy, but for some reason it just works. I get there, I get all the ponies ready, so they're done, ready for the day. I'm very lucky that I don't need to work Chris in for more than 10 minutes, so I haven't got to sort of factor that into the day. The in-hand ponies are really easy. You get them off, you go in the ring, you put them away. It can be very chaotic, but I wouldn't change it. It's just so much fun. It's so exhilarating. It's wild, but it's amazing.
And let's turn a wee bit now towards like turnout and tack. When you're at ponies or horses in, there's a certain way they have to look. And it differs from class to class. Like some of their tails needs hogged, and some of them doesn't need a mane, some does need a mane. And there's also certain tack that you have to wear on them. Some classes want double reins, some classes don't do double reins. So can you give us a wee bit insight to, first of all, the turnout, and when would you hog a mane or hog their tail, or you give us a wee insight into that, Lauren?
Yeah, so tack is a big thing in the showing industry. Essentially, showing is all about what you look like and matching the traditions that is put out for that class. The likes of the double reins and the single rein scenario that you just mentioned. Double reins are usually used for open ponies, anything over sort of 12.2, that's what I'd be sticking in double reins. I wouldn't ever stick any of my novices in a double bridle until they were completely ready. First riddens, lead reins, always a snaffle bridle. Then you've got the likes of the traditional bridles and the more pretty bridles. So for your show ponies, you'd have the big velvet brow bands. You can put a bit of diamante on there. Whereas something like a mountain of moorland or a hunter pony, you stick to pure tradition. It's the leather plaited brow bands, plain nose bands, plain as anything. No painting, no diamantes, no glitter. Stick to tradition on that one.
Such a pity. Although I know Sean's really traditional. It's such a pity there's no glamour in it. It's very plain.
I know.
Yeah. And even like, you know, when do you wear a tweed jacket compared to like a normal black jacket? You know, you'll see some classes there and they're wearing black jacket with like their cream joggers, and another class they're wearing a tweed jacket, yellow joggers. So what defines that?
So tweed jackets, again, are the more traditional look for your mountain moorlands and hunters, cobs, and the riding horses. You wouldn't really wear a black. It would be more like a navy jacket would be for your show ponies and your hacks. I think the Arabs as well are also in blue jackets, but you'd have to correct me on that if I'm wrong, because I don't have Arabs. I don't show them. But yeah, there's I don't know why it's like that. It just is. I'm sure there's some form of traditional etiquette rule that was back in the day that we've just kept to tradition. In terms of like the beige joppers and the yellow joppers, that to me is a junior senior rider difference. So as a junior, you'd be in the brightest yellow joppers you could find. Whereas as you get older, you tone down the colours, you go down to your beiges and your creams, just sort of tone everything down a little bit.
So I know you said your mum was a judge. I'm not sure if she still judges, and that was something I've seen in your TikTok as well, that you would love to try to be a judge, but obviously because you're an amateur, that's not something that you're wanting to maybe pursue right away.
Yeah, I'd love to do some more judging in the future. I was really lucky. I did a young judges competition for the National Pony Society almost 10 years ago now. It feels like forever ago. Which I ended up winning the young judges competition. It really sort of spurred me on to do it more. Obviously, as I compete as an amateur, a lot of the rules say that you can't be a panel judge. So at the minute, it's not something I want to pursue right now, but that doesn't mean I've stopped training. Whenever I can, I will sit and watch classes. I will make notes. I will always talk to mum about horses, the types of shows she's seeing, the conformation faults, anything like that where I can pick up more knowledge. Not only is it going to help me with my own judging training, but it also helps me with my own horses. I can be really, really critical of my own ponies. I can be really positive about them. I know what mum would want to see. I know what I want to see. And that just really helps me in the ring as well, just by having that bit of knowledge behind me.
Yeah, like, are you hard on yourself? Like, you know, how often does it not work out for you? Or, you know, there's times where they don't always behave when you go in, or you do something wrong yourself. Like, that happened to you?
It happens all the time, but you will never notice because I will always come out patting those ponies. Like, especially when you have the babies. Chris, bless him, he is a sensitive little soul. Things don't always go right with him, but you'd never know because he is like my child. He's always a good boy in my eyes.
It's not a lovely way to be. And I think you have to be that, because you can't win all the time. And sometimes, like, I'm happy just to come out and survive it. And that, you know, we get round and everything goes okay. And you know, it's not really about the placings at all. Well, you know, for a lot of people it is. They're more concerned.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be like that in showing, unfortunately. It does have a bit of a bad rep being very political, and unfortunately sometimes it is like that. But showing, at the end of the day, you're paying for someone's opinion. As long as you feel happy with the result that you've got and you feel like you've done your job and your pony's done their job, what can you be sad about? I mean, we always say, in terms of the politics side of things, if we come out the ring, we're not really happy with our result. If someone says to us, your pony looks great, if someone said to me, your show is amazing, or if I'm at the top of the home produced people, that to me, I've won. I've done my job. I'm very happy with what I've done. And yeah, there's always another day. There's always another show. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, in another episode, I would love to dive into, what the judge would look for in the ring. But today, I wanted to ask you what kind of training you put your horses and ponies through, as they're coming up to shows. Because Chris is still young. He's going into the ring full of horses. I know myself with even Yates, he just wants to take off all the time. What kind of
Yeah.
training do you do to prepare your show horses for the ring and to get them to behave, to stand, do their little performance?
Yeah. So we do a lot of training at home, but we also, like I say, show all of our youngsters. And I think that's made a massive difference to how they come out when they're under saddle. I would say that in-hand classes at every level is so underrated, especially when you've got young ponies. People want to just get out, get under saddle, get riding. But if you take your ponies out in hand, they can see the world without having to focus on getting the right leg going in the outline. They can see what's going on. They can be in a show atmosphere. They can have ponies coming up behind them, but it's not too much for them. They can just focus on you, what you're asking. Once you've done that a few times, you'll find that when you come out under saddle, they're not bothered about the pony that's cantering that way or the pony that's trotting that way or the judge walking around them. They're not bothered about that. They are happy to just focus on doing the job that you're asking them. So that to me is how I would do it, especially now I've got the babies and they're all coming up through the ranks. Another thing that we often do, especially with young stallions that are coming out under saddle, we would go and hire an arena, invite some friends over and do a pretend show. We have my mum stand in the middle and be the judge, and we literally do an entire class as if it was at a show. Sometimes we'll even have rosettes and sashes just to practice that as well, because again, people forget about that part and very easily could you lose a class by not standing for a rosette. So we will hire an arena for an hour, 2 hours, run an entire show just for ourselves.
That's a great idea because having something like out there and being in that there really kind of sets you up your confidence, because I feel even as a rider that we're all trying to look really graceful and underneath like we're paddling all the time, make it all look very smooth. It is really hard to keep everything composed because you are dealing with animals after all, and well, so like it is hard work to keep it all going together. So like, would you like bring your horses out hacking most of the week? Would you spend like 2 hours in the arena preparing now that Chris and stuff has got used to it, that you don't have to do as much with them?
Yeah, exactly that. To be honest, I barely school my ponies now, especially now Chris is a lot older. We do a lot of hacking. We're very lucky where we live. We have a lot of lovely hacking. In terms of show week, they will only hack. I will only ever school if there's something I really need to work on, or maybe if the weather's absolutely horrendous. I mean, I work full time, so the winter is really, really difficult for me. I will either get home from work and literally take them on a 5-minute hack, which as long as they've stretched their legs, that's good for me. Day before a show, I either don't ride them or just go on a hack, let them have a bit of chill time, let them sort of keep a bit of zen, get in the moment and get themselves ready mentally and physically. I think showing, as much as it's not as hard work as show jumping or cross country or anything like that, it's very mentally exhausting. So we just like to keep it chill. As young ponies, again, we keep it all very relaxed, still do a lot of hacking, probably school once a week just to keep them learning mentally. But we try to do as much out of the arena as possible because you can make them go sour to an arena so quickly.
Yeah, that's very, very important. And putting on there about you're working full time, you're coming home in the evenings. It's just bridging on being dark. And it's not every evening, no matter whether you're an equestrian or not, do you feel like going out and start to start back up and it raining. And like you've said to me, you don't love riding out in the rain. I'm like that. And if I could get away at just putting them on the trailer and going, I probably would. And I just think that's really important for people to recognize that, when you're not a pro and you don't have all that time at the stable, it is hard work to fit it all in around family life as well, because there's other stuff going on in the evening. You're doing a good job.
Thank you. It is hard, but it is very rewarding. And I do take my hats off to the people that do it professionally. I think they have a very high stressful job. But yeah, getting home in the dark, everyone knows me. I'm not a rider in the rain. I hate rain. I hate the cold. I just won't ride. I just won't do it. So yeah, trying to sort of get them fit at the beginning of the season can be a little bit hard. But now that the evenings have lightened up, I get home and it's still quite light. So I can manage to squeeze in 2 rides if I'm lucky.
Yeah. And does Josh do all the tacking up when you do the riding?
He's very good. He empties all of the wheelbarrows and gets on with the mucking out, which I can't complain.
Yeah, get that bit too. I like that too. You know, the one that does all the mucking out, you just get on and ride and leave them back.
Yeah, it's so much easier. He leaves all the riding, all of the working of the ponies, trimming, bathing. He leaves that to me because I'm a perfectionist, and he'll just get on with the grunt work, which that works for me.
Good partnership. So what would you say you love most about the showing world? Like, what most thrill about it?
I personally really like seeing a pony completely in their scruffs and then taking them out and making them look all pretty and like a completely different pony. That, to me, the grooming side of things and riding them in the ring is what I love the most. I have really taken a love to how we've had the foals and showing them throughout their lives. I've really enjoyed that. The results are great, don't get me wrong. I'm very lucky and I'm very grateful that we've done so well, but I like looking back and seeing how far we've come and how far each pony's come. That to me is the most rewarding. The rosettes are great, but it's not the end of the world if they don't ever come. I just like seeing the careers and how they progress.
Yeah, and you love recording. Would you be quite hard on yourself, or would you be like bothered looking at it, or would that be something that you would look at?
I mean, I do always look back at my videos and I critique them quite badly in terms of show day. But to be fair, all the videos I've sort of posted in the last year, 2 years, I've always looked back on them and thought, wow, what an amazing day we had that day. Or I remember when the foal, baby Fred, took me across the showground and I lost him, and it's all on video and it's incredible. But then I look back and see the day that he was born and that day, and then he went on to win the Royal Welsh Winter Fair, which is like an absolute dream of mine and Josh's, to not only win it, but to win it with a homebred was just incredible. So it's been amazing to sort of keep doing that content and being able to look back on it and also show people that you can do it if you're not doing it professionally. We're showing you that you can, and just enjoy it, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, like when you get into horses when you're younger, it never leaves you. It always stays with you for the rest of your life. You're just that animal that, I don't know, you seem to be able to get a bond with. And anybody that I know that has ever been with me when I was riding when I was younger, still riding today, still owns a horse, still trying to achieve their own equestrian dream. So just before I just wanted to ask you, if there was one lesson that horses have taught you in life, what would that be?
One lesson that horses taught me in life. I think it's just to not care. As much as I'm paying someone for their opinion, it's not the end of the world. Like, my horses are my entire world, apart from my husband, obviously. We're very lucky that we do it together. But at the end of the day, I'm bringing home the pony that I love, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what colour rosette I've got on. As long as I've enjoyed it and they've enjoyed it, they've had a good experience, I've had a good experience. There's nothing else I can give. Just keep doing what I'm doing and persevere. And one day you might get the dream that you've always wanted. One day you might not, but it doesn't matter because I've still got that pony in my stable.
So what's your plans actually for this coming year, this showing year?
This year we've obviously got the foals that we bred last year will all come out as yearlings, so we will have that to do, which is always very fun. In terms of riding goals, obviously I'd love to get back to Horse of the Year show. I'd love to go back to London. I'm not really giving myself too much pressure with Chris because he's achieved the top 3 for me. He went to Hoys and was 9th. He's been to London in the Heritage and he was 2nd at the Royal International in his first season. So I've done my top 3 with him. I just want to enjoy him now. He will go off to be a standing stallion for our mares further down the line. So I just want to enjoy him. We're covering season at the minute as well, so I'd love to see if I can get some more mares in foal ready for 2027 and do it all over again. But yeah, this year's just all about enjoying it and doing a couple of bucket list shows that I've never done before. And I've already entered, so I'm going and I'm excited.
Yeah. So you've got all the entries in. So much, Lauren, for joining us. And I think until next time, we're going to dive into that preparation and also maybe get a look at the actual show place in spring, and you can give us a rundown on that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds good. Thanks, Lauren, for joining us today. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.